If 2021 was the year of the SPAC, is 2022 shaping up to be a year in which private companies rethink their exit strategies altogether? With canceled SPACs, delayed IPOs, and some high-profile private companies reducing their valuations, we wanted to learn more about how the changing IPO landscape is affecting private companies today. To do this, let's talk to Charlie Grimes. Charlie is Global Head of Capital Markets at Forge Global based in New York. Hey Charlie, thanks for joining me for this conversation today.
Hey Dan, thanks for having me.
Charlie, what are you hearing and seeing in the market these days?
So as you just said, the SPAC and the IPO market is certainly challenging for private companies right now. So companies themselves are rethinking their exit plans. We're even seeing some companies take their own internal valuations lower themselves. So as a result, what we're seeing is more private company shareholders and more private companies themselves really turn to the private markets to find liquidity solutions in the near term. And overall, the data shows that roughly 60% of the indications of interest that we're seeing now are coming from sellers versus 40% from buyers.
40% of indications of interest coming from buyers. Tell us a little bit about what you're hearing from those buyers who are seeking to access the private market through markets like Forge.
What we're seeing from buyers is really, for the first time in quite some time, probably 2 years or so, buyers are excited that it's a buyer's market, as they say, because you have more sellers, more supply coming into the market. So what we're seeing from buyers is really, digging in, doing some more homework, looking at companies that they like for the long term, at potentially much more attractive prices and valuations than they've had access to in the last few months. So if you think about it, those investors are really looking out at the long term. They're not just looking out at the next few months or even next few quarters. So we're seeing a lot of trading activity across many different sectors: cybersecurity, payments, data software, sales and business software. So the buyers are certainly still active in the market.
And the seller tends to be an employee shareholder who is certainly not insulated from what's going on in the market. How are they engaging with the private market, and what are you hearing and seeing from sellers these days?
So those employee shareholders, as you can imagine, it takes them a little bit longer to decrease and lower their expectations for what their shares are worth, right? They've worked for a company for many years. Even some of the investors in the early stages of these companies, they're a little bit more closely aligned with the company. So it does take some time for the expectations to really come down from those shareholders. But we're seeing them come down after a few months of choppy markets, and not only are we seeing more sellers come to the market, as we mentioned previously, we're seeing those sellers willing to offer their shares at discounts compared to their private company's last financing round valuation. In fact, right now the average discount is 21% below that last private market valuation.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks for joining us and sharing what you're hearing in the private market. It's great to get your perspective. To read the full April private market update, visit forgeglobal.com. You can access it from the Insights tab at the top. And we look forward to sharing more data and more insight with you about the private market in the months ahead.